Welcome to today's explainer. Look, we've all heard the golden rule of hiring, right? Hire for attitude, train for skill. But let's be real for a second. How on earth do you actually measure an attitude? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating data-driven framework called the Yancha Pathways method. We're going to see exactly how abstract, touchy-feely traits can literally be transformed into hard, actionable data.
So I want you to ask yourself this and be totally honest. Do you really believe in recruiting for attitude and training for skills? It's one of those phrases we see plastered all over LinkedIn and in almost every business book out there. But hey, if you answered yes to that question, you are in the exact right place, because the framework we are exploring today was built precisely for you. It's designed to take all that guesswork completely out of the equation and turn attitude into an objective, measurable metric.
Okay, let's break down how this actually works. The Yancha Pathways tool runs on a brilliantly simple 5-step process. Step 1, candidates take a questionnaire. Step 2, it generates a customized report for them, clearly pinpointing specific strengths and areas for improvement. Step 3, and this is the really strategic part, you map out the exact strengths required for the specific role, maybe by testing your current top performers. Step 4, you match those required strengths against the individual candidate's profile. And finally, Step 5, you recruit based on that hard data. It completely removes the gut feeling from hiring and replaces it with a structured alignment of traits.
Section 1. Inside a profile comparison. Saugata Nandi, V5 architecture versus V1 nature.
Let's look at a real-world comparison for a 22-year-old candidate. When we run these two specific profiles against each other, the system spits out three critical percentages. We have a 36% overall match. Then we break that down further into a 38% strength overlap and a 33% improvement overlap. Now, these aren't just arbitrary numbers plucked from thin air. They are precise calculations based on very specific behavioral traits. So what do these percentages actually mean for a working relationship? Let's unpack it.
Let's start with the big one, that headline number, the 36% overall match. According to the source data, this combined match across strengths and improvement areas falls completely below the 50% threshold. So what's the immediate verdict? Well, these two profiles just think differently. If you pair them up, whether as a manager and an employee or just two teammates, you are going to see a major divergence in how each person actually operates day to day. They just aren't naturally in sync.
But let's dig into that 38% strength overlap to see where they actually do align. Out of 13 total distinct traits measured in this category, the architecture and nature profiles match perfectly on exactly 5. And listen to what these shared strengths are: creating their own path, seeking out the best in others, taking responsibility, doing what is right, and overcoming adversity. I mean, those are incredibly powerful fundamental traits. Even though their overall match is low, they actually share a very intense, deeply driven foundation. Now, here is where that day-to-day operational friction really kicks in. Look at the traits where they completely diverge. The V5 architecture profile utilizes strengths like visualizing the future, raising standards, rationalizing to overcome unfounded fear, generating multiple options, and seeing reality to stay grounded. It's a very structural, big-picture kind of mindset. Contrast that with the V1 nature profile. Their unique strengths are taking the right action now for a good outcome later, getting work done through different approaches, and giving value to what is already there. So one is building the blueprint for tomorrow, while the other is grabbing whatever's handy to get things moving today. You can totally see how these two working together could drive each other crazy on a Tuesday afternoon, right?
Which brings us to a crucial takeaway directly from the report analysis. Yes, the combined match is below 50%, and yes, they absolutely clash in how they operate daily, but, and this is a big but, the two profiles share a real values core: owning decisions, doing what's right, pushing through adversity. Honestly, this is the absolute essence of recruiting for attitude. You aren't necessarily looking for a clone who works exactly like you do. You might just be looking for someone who shares your foundational moral and professional compass.
And let's not forget their vulnerabilities, because the tool measures those too. This is where that 33% improvement overlap comes in. Out of 9 distinct areas for improvement, these two profiles share 3. Both of them struggle with not initiating action when steps are unclear. They both have a tendency to follow what others tell them, and they both can easily get carried away by fear. Knowing this is absolute management gold. If you hire this candidate, you know exactly what environments will paralyze them, specifically highly ambiguous situations without clear steps, and you can manage them accordingly.
Moving on to our final section, the final verdict, the Friend Meter Insight.
So we've established that their core values align, even though their daily workflows clash. The tool brilliantly illustrates this with a 36% on its friend meter, which is, again, below that 50% friendship threshold. The report is pretty blunt here. This isn't a strong match. However, it explicitly notes that because they have that shared core, doing what's right, taking responsibility, pushing through adversity, there is a real basis for deep mutual respect. Look, they might not want to grab a beer together after work, and they'll probably bicker over project management, but when the chips are down, they respect each other's integrity. Having that kind of nuanced insight before a candidate even walks through the door for their first day, that is a real game changer.
Which leaves us with one final, really important question to ponder based on the Yancha Pathways tool. When you're building your team, what do you actually prioritize? Are you hunting for a smooth, friction-free day-to-day match, or are you willing to endure a few operational clashes if it means securing a shared values core? The beauty of the data we've explored today is that you just don't have to guess anymore. You can map it, you can measure it, and you can build your team with total clarity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take these insights, apply them to your next big hiring decision, and just watch how the data transforms your team.